Hey everybody, it's Armando with Security Owners Group. Welcome to another episode, issue, recording, whatever you want to call it, of Business by the Bar. So I just finished taking a course on strategy, and it reminded me of something that I have known to be a problem for a long time, but I've never had an effective technique of countering it, okay? And that is confirmation bias. So as leaders, as owners, we make decisions all the time. Most of the time we have to go out in front of our peers or in front of our employees and sometimes in front of investors and put on this face of constant confidence of I know what I'm doing and I'm going to get it right, and it's a foregone conclusion that success is around the corner. We all know that that's not always the case. And one of the reasons that we sabotage, one of the ways that we sabotage ourselves is by submitting ourselves to confirmation bias. We get in our heads and we think, oh, this is the answer to this problem. And then we convince all of those around us that this is the answer to that problem. And then not only do we use confirmation bias in a negative way to sabotage ourselves, but we infect our entire organization with this organizational confirmation bias. And why is that? Why does that happen at the organizational level? Well, put yourself in your employee's shoes, right? Nobody wants to get fired. Nobody wants to be the dissenting voice. You are the leader. They want to follow. They want to win. They think that you know everything, right? Surprise, we don't. Anyways, I'm going to get to this here in a second. First, I'm going to introduce today's whiskey. Today's whiskey is Lagavulin 11-year-old. And there's a very specific reason why I chose this. This is an 11-year-old, very peaty, very seaweedy, by most accounts, a pretty gross whiskey, right? And what makes this one special is that they finished it off and aged it in Guinness casks. So you take a very, very dividing whiskey and you put it with a very, very dividing beer. Nobody in their right mind would have thought this was a good idea. So I would have loved to have been in the room when they decided, hey, you know what? We should take this super gross scotch that smells like Band-Aids and put it in with this super dark beer and come up with something, right? Well, apparently they did something right, because this is one of the best whiskeys I have personally ever had. So much so that when I bought this bottle, I actually bought a second to keep for a while because I didn't know if they were going to continue making it. So yeah, it was a good decision. It takes all of that seaweed out, all of that rubber Band-Aid nose, the gross stuff. The reason why everybody says they don't like scotch, and it adds just a little bit of sweetness to it, and it all goes away. That's actually quite good. Anyways, let's get back to it. Nobody wants to get fired, right? So when you present your solution to a problem to your organization, everybody lines up. And when they line up, they want to show support and they want to be on board with your leadership. So there are some times when your leadership has to include their input. There are many times actually where that's the case. And in order to present that in a way that doesn't reduce your credibility as the leader, you have to look at various debiasing techniques. Now, I had not, in all of the decisions that I've had to make in my career and all of the companies that I've had to grow and the ones that I've had to fix, I've never had an effective debiasing technique until now. So this technique was introduced to me at a class I just finished for a certificate in executive business strategy or some other thing. And it was Greg Fisher, a professor at the IU Kelley School of Business, not the School of Music. And he attributed it to a guy named Daniel Kahneman, who is a Nobel Prize winner in decision-making, in the thought process of decision-making, something along those lines. Everybody knows I'm not a detail person. I'm a big picture guy. Anyways, Greg Fisher introduced me to this concept in a class that I recently took with him. He attributed it to Daniel Kahneman. And what it's called is a pre-mortem. So stop and think about that for a second. And I normally, this is pretty dark, right? Everybody knows I am an eternal optimist. I'm always looking at the positive. I'm always envisioning the positive. I'm trying to manifest things into creation that are positive and helpful, even if they're not for me, right? I'm always up here at the top looking that way to see what's coming on, what's going to happen in 2, 3, 5, 10 years. all right? Because I want positive action. And it's very true, in my opinion, that when you focus on the negative, you attract the negative. When you focus on the positive, you attract the positive. However, to me, this technique is necessary. Even though it's very negative, and I'm going to warn you, you don't want to spend a whole lot of time focusing on it, but you definitely want to be aware of the possible negative outcomes of your decisions, okay? And the way to do that is to use this exercise called a postmortem. You take a sheet of paper and you put a top and a bottom. And I did one, it was actually earlier today, right there. So top and bottom. I'm not going to show you the things that that I'm worried about personally for my business, but there are some, just like any business owner. Once you have that, at the top, you pose a very simple question. And this is when you are at the point that you've almost made your decision and you're almost confirming it. You're almost committing to it. Here's the other phenomenon. When you come to your team and you say, we've gone through all this stuff and we're getting to this decision, as everybody gets closer to making that decision, that dissent, that voice that says, oh, this isn't going to work, that voice becomes more and more important. But that voice also becomes quieter and quieter and quieter, because nobody wants to be the one person who says, oh, I think this isn't going to work. Oh, I think this is going to run us down the tube. So what about this negative thing over here? Everybody wants to jump on board and help you, right? But you need that dissent. So since most of us are not very good at encouraging dissent, most of us are not very good at incentivizing it or making it part of our culture, we need tools like this. So anyways, the top portion of your sheet, you pose a very simple question. It is 3 years from now, 1 year from now, 5 years from now. Pick your long-term date, okay? We implemented this decision and it failed horribly. It was miserable. It sucked. Why did it fail? And then you spend however long it takes answering that question. If it's one reason and only one reason, you list that. If it's 25, you dig deep. You dig deep and you get those answers. And you list them all out. Then the second step is very precise, very specific. As a matter of fact, I'm going to read it. What could you have done to mitigate that failure? So you are now in the future. This has already happened. You've made this decision you're thinking about. You've implemented it as best you can. Your team has worked on it as best they can. It failed. You listed out all of the potential reasons why it could have failed. Now you are solving that problem so that you can make that decision again, right? And you list out all of the things that you could have done to mitigate that failure, right? Now, let's say we're going to hire more people, and the potential failures are we hired idiots, okay? Well, your answer would be don't hire idiots. This is a very dumbed down version of this, okay? But you get it, right? Now you are aware, before you go into completing that decision, you've got to make sure you don't hire the idiot, okay? Because there's a lot of them out there, right? Here's the catch. If any one of those or some of those potential problems don't have a factor that you can mitigate against it, then you need to look at this decision more closely, because that is an indication that you have a decision that is catastrophic. So if there is nothing that you could do to fix a problem, knowing that the problem is coming, then you probably should not make that decision, okay? I hope this has helped. It's a very simple tool, just like most of the things that successful business owners use. But it's a very deep tool that dives into the human psyche for us as owners, as well as for our teams, and builds a stronger, healthier team, okay? If you like these Business by the Bar videos, please join the free group on Facebook, Security Owners Group. You can just search on Facebook for Security Owners Group. Visit us at securityownersgroup.com. We've got masterminds that we run. We've got financial groups that we put together. We've got all kinds of stuff to help you run your security business, and in some case, even your service business, your locksmith business, your electrician, whatever it is. If it's a service-based business that has something to do with security, we want to help, okay? Most of the stuff that we do is free of charge through the Facebook group. It is a peer group of, at this point, around 450 other owners, people who are verified owners. They run their business on the day-to-day. They've been in the trenches, and they know exactly what you're going through. So if you're looking for help, if you want to help elevate your business to the next level and you own a security company, Security Owners Group is one of the resources you should definitely be considering. Thank you, and I'll see you guys soon.